How to recognize old green tea? I have here two fairly old and badly stored green tea, and I'm going to show it to you now. Hi guys, this is Gabriele from nannuoshan, where we share the pleasure of drinking and discovering genuine farm tea. Today, it won't be so much a pleasure drinking though, because I have selected here, and selected is even too much of a word, two fairly old and bad store green tea. And I want to show you actually how can you recognize them? How can you see a green tea, taste a green tea and tell, well, this green tea is not good. It was stored badly, or maybe was harvested many years ago, is not worth buying, is not worth drinking. So what happens? It happens that I am in Berlin, so I came overseas, and I came completely unprepared for the quarantine. So now I am at home, and I am waiting to go out there and go to the nannuoshan studio and do a little bit of work over the weekend. And until then, I'm just staying at home and I cannot go out. And I was not prepared for tea. You know, I go to Berlin, I have plenty of tea here. I don't have to bring tea with me. But what happened that at home, I found these small boxes here that we were using at the tea house until about 2 years ago. And we were using them for brewing the tea to bring to the tables. So inside of the box here we have a nannuoshan Huangya, and here we have a Longjing medium, meaning medium fire. And when I opened these small boxes, I realized there is tea inside. And this tea is fairly old. It has been staying here on a shelf just for a bit more than 2 years already, and before that was in the tea house. So both these teas are actually from spring 2018. They are 3 years old, and they have been stored for more than 2 years out of the refrigerator and actually on a shelf very close to light, although they are sealed, so that shouldn't be a big problem. But most importantly, two heating elements left and right. So in winter they receive a lot of heat. And I tell you, just by looking at the leaves, when I wanted to do a tea, I just realized they are not good quality. I haven't even drunk them yet. I just, waited for the video. I have found other dansong that look much better. So I've been drinking dansong in the past days. And I thought, let's share this with you. So first of all, when you look at the leaves, you see that the two teas have fairly different color. So this is the Longjing, is fairly light, and this is fairly dark. So you cannot tell based on the fact if they are dark or bright, if they are good or bad. But what happens is that you might know the specific tea. So you might know that this one, nannuoshan Huangya, is a tea that is fairly darker. Yeah, it's high fiber because the leaves are a little bit coarser, a little bit bigger, and the type of cultivar actually, the leaves are a little bit darker, while Longjing is usually a very bright green. Now, say that, what you can look at the leaves, you can see that the green is not more very vivid, very lively. It is somewhat not bright, it is dull, and this is an indication for bad quality. Bad quality not in terms of it is a bad harvest, but in terms of it has become old. The leaves have lost that brightness that they had at the beginning. And this you can tell in both, although they have different color. This green is somewhat, I don't know, it doesn't look like a lush green meadow, not at all. It's very grayish maybe. And this other green is also tends more to the brown neutral tone. So there are other tea that are even darker than that. Take for example Luang Guapian, that is a characteristic very dark green tea. And there you have to pay attention to not confuse the dark nature of the tea with it being old. So distinguish between bright, dull, clear or dark. So it's two different things. And now we come to the taste. So I am not prepared. I don't have a kettle here. I don't have a gaiwan. I mean, I'm coming to Berlin. I have everything just a few miles from here, but I cannot go to the studio. So I have to arrange myself with what I found in the kitchen. And I boiled some water. I brought to a boil so that now, by the time I'm speaking, the temperature has been cooled down a little bit. And I have glasses. Lucky for me, a green tea steeping in the glass is one of my, if not my favorite method. So actually for steeping this green tea to perfection, let's say, we don't need a gaiwan. And what I'll do, I'll put a little bit of water in each of them. So let's see. A little bit here and a little bit here. And I will steep, you know, both at the same time because they have different tastes. They are two different teas. And I want to see if there are some commonalities in the taste that help me recognizing that they are old. So just a little bit of leaves on top, not on top of the table possibly. Like this. I don't have a scale, so I go by feeling, which is perfectly fine. I mean, it's not, doesn't have to be extremely precise, but this type of glasses, very tall and narrow, are really good. I think that's enough for steeping green tea. And this Longjing, I had really just a rest of Longjing in the box at the very bottom. So there are a lot of powder as well. So I will try just to take the leaves as much as I can. I mean the whole leaves, but I said it's difficult because there are really a lot of small pieces. So I try to filter them a little bit. And let's see what comes out. It's really the rest of the box. I have to say that the smell is very characteristic. Now that I'm moving the leaves, it comes to this typical chestnut, or I associate it with chestnuts, smell, comes straight to my nose, and I tell you, I would recognize blind that it is Longjing just by the smell, which is surprisingly, since it means it hasn't lost all the fragrance despite being stored so badly. It's very difficult to get somewhat good leaves. Let's see. And this is an important skill that you need. First of all, by just watching at the leaves, because you saw that not everyone put an effort of refrigerating the green tea in the shop before selling it to you. I mean, I can tell you it's quite some effort and energy, and not everyone put that in it. And also, you know, sometimes also, of course, most of the shop buy from a wholesaler, right? They don't buy directly from the farmer, which is a bit more difficult and understandable, of course. So they buy already a product that was not stored in perfect conditions, because it is the wholesaler. The wholesaler also doesn't use huge refrigerator chamber, and by the time the tea goes to the wholesaler, it's stored there, and then it is dispatched to the retail shop. It takes much longer than if it comes directly from the farmer. Also because those wholesalers work with other larger company back in the country of origin that also collect first the tea from the farmer, so you have many steps in between. And I have to say also they cannot really buy from farmers because wholesalers have to buy large quantities, and you don't find large quantities by farmers. This tea is from a farmer, so single farmer. This tea is actually from a medium-sized company. It's probably the largest company we buy tea from. I would guess they have a few dozen of employees. So the company itself is very nice. It's a big building. The working facility, the processing facility at the end, it's maybe 3,000 square meters, so a large hall. So now it will be quite difficult to drink the Longjing because, and I will put a little bit more water here because we have more leaves. Because I have all these particles. I try to filter them, but there is still a lot of powder in here. And let's see. So this is, well, I've done a video about how to steep green tea, so you can have a look at that. Done several of those, and there is one where I really make a video, one of the very first one, about the brewing in the glass. So I won't take time now to explain that aspect, but let's start maybe from this side. I have to say that the smell, again, it's not bad. Even in this one, it's I haven't drank green tea for a while, and right now it's snowing outside. It's not really the season where I would drink green tea. I will tell you more soon. I want to first have a sip of both, and then I will go into the details and tell you what I feel. Avoiding to eat the leaves, which is not bad. I mean, you can eat the leaves, but okay. So this is really not good. There were more smell, nice fragrance directly from the leaves than from the infused leaves. This is already strange. So it's something that I'm realizing right now. I wasn't prepared to discover this aspect, but that's very strange. Usually, if you don't breathe on the leaves to enhance the fragrance by a distance, you don't smell as much and smelling directly the leaves than the wet leaves. And here there is less of a smell. It would be different if I do something like that. If I breathe on the leaves and then I smell, then I enhance actually the smell. Tasting wise, there is nothing there. This tea, I know it very well because I sourced it in China. It has lost completely all its fragrance, incredibly so. Still a lot of leaf in my mouth, incredibly so. And it's flat, okay? It doesn't have at all those fresh taste, and also those chestnut nuances, and even the roasting that is typical of Longjing is no more there. So it's really something that you drink and you are instantly a little bit disappointed. And of course, you cannot always drink the tea before you buy it, but some shops like nannuoshan offer samples so that you can sample the tea. You just spend a couple of euros, you try it, and then if you like, you buy a larger pouch. And in some high quality physical shops, they would also give you a try. But certainly you can look at the leaves. And by looking at the leaves already would have been an indication. Well, this tea, I have to say, is not that bad. Originally, I would have said this tea was better quality, you know, right after the harvest, but it has been degrading quite a lot. Well, this has still a kind of pleasant taste. None of them are bitter, which is interesting. So I would say bitterness is not necessarily an indication, but also here there are a little bit of notes that are missing in there. Yeah, but I say is not that bad. I cannot tell you why. Maybe it was dried for a longer time, so it has less moisture content, and also the storage have impacted him less. Now I look at the color. This is something that's very difficult for you to see because of the lighting here. I wasn't even prepared for making a video, so I don't have my usual lights and microphones and so on. So the quality of this video will be a little bit lower than all the rest that I usually do. I'm sorry about that, the technical quality. But I had this occasion of doing this tea. this tasting, and I wanted to show that to you. Anyway, what I can see here, that this is more green, this is more flat grayish in the glass, and this is not the typical color for longing. Again, just by looking at the infusion, something here is wrong. Also, the infusion have to be more vivid in color. While this is not a bad color indeed. It's a little bit dark, but it's okay. It's okay, yeah. And in fact, the taste reflects that. So to give you a summary of my discoveries today, I would say, first of all, look at the leaves. If you recognize which tea it is, keep in mind if it is a bright tea, a clear color, or if it is a dark one. And then try to analyze with your memories, remembering how it is the appearance of such a tea, if it is too dull, too flat in color. It's not vivid, it's not live in a way, it's not... yeah, and if you don't know the tea, and if you don't know if the tea originally has to be dark or bright, then nonetheless try to see if it reminds you more of hay or fresh grass. A green tea is a fresh tea. It has to remind you of fresh grass, not of hay or of hay, I would say. Concerning the steeping, it's strange that leaves from far away, dry, smell better than actually when I smell directly in the cup. That's something at least strange. I wouldn't say it is the only indication you should go for, but it's at least a kind of bell that rings in your head that something is wrong. Looking at the color of the infusion, same story. This is totally flat. It's not good. It's yellow. It's not green. It's yellow brownish. This is a little bit better. Yeah. So this, by looking at the liquor simply, I couldn't tell if it is fresh or not. Probably, of course, I could if I had a comparison with this tea brewed 2 years ago. But just by looking at it would be difficult. But you search indication, you don't find all indication in every tea. When you taste the tea, then you realize that this freshness, typical from green tea, is lacking, is not there. It has no floral or fruity aroma. In this case, you recognize it's a longing, so should taste nutty. You don't find any nuttiness in it. The bitterness, I would say, could increase, but in this case was not an indication. So if it's not bitter, doesn't mean that it is fresh. And the taste, I would say, is flat, neutral. Is a little bit, go more in the direction of dirty water. This is how you can judge, and you want to put your money in good tea. Also because when you find old tea, it's not necessarily cheaper. Because the vendor, sometimes, okay, you find the discount, you can go for it, but why they should reduce drastically the price of the tea because it is 1 year old or 2 years old? No one does it. And actually, if you store it in the refrigerator, even after 2 years, the taste is fairly fresh. Yeah, you can already notice some difference, but I can tell you after a year, stored properly in the refrigerator, is still extremely fresh. So it really depends a lot, not only on how old the tea is, but in particular in which storage condition it was placed. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if it is the case and you want to see more of this and you are not yet one of our subscribers, well, what you are waiting for, go ahead and subscribe our channel. And if you have enjoyed watching, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And I will see you at the next video, and I'm really looking forward to get out of this flat. I've been closing the year for almost 5 days now. When it is tomorrow I will take finally a COVID test, and then I will be free. Thank you very much, guys, and I will see you in the next video.